Hey, Jan,
Hello.
how's it going?
It's good.
How you doing?
So we don't have a quorum yet. Steve,
Is it okay for me to be here at this point?
Oh, it is on the agenda.
look at that. Geez,
That's good.
isn't that awesome?
You're
It's
a-
all blurred.
oh, get me out of there. That's weird.
Oh, look at it. It looks like you're a sticker.
I know it.
Yeah.
It's not on for 8:50. I think it's a video filter thing. You probably have to,
Do you think?
yeah, switch it off.
You.
If you go to that little arrow by stop video,
Right there.
yeah. And then, yeah, uncheck blur my background.
Oh, thank
Right,
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Set up for meetings. There's
Hi, Danielle.
Danielle with
Danielle's
shorts.
dressed.
How's
Still-
the,
Still dressed appropriately.
how's the new school year?
Yeah, you got that. Who's got socks on? That's what I want.
Come on.
You got socks on? No, right on.
Go on at 15.
It's weird not coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's nice. I'm very happy.
Good.
Yeah, so Jack's back and yeah, it's just me and the kids again.
How are they doing?
They're good. It looks like today we found out that Jackie might have seizures.
Oh, no.
So it's
Oh.
not a big deal, but it's just something we have to
Watch.
Watch.
yeah.
Oh,
So that was our fun surprise today.
oh my gosh.
But otherwise they are very good, and the little one is finally past colic, so he's
Good.
a much happier baby.
Oh,
which makes
good.
us all much
You've been
happier.
good.
Yes.
So you're on leave, and then when your husband goes on leave, you're like taking his class. right?
Yeah, so
That's
I
funny.
This is the
I'm
special
staying
event thing.
like
This is
I'm
the
full of hope,
packet.
but yeah,
Um,
he comes on leave.
Oh my God,
Let's do this.
So I'll do that from
Um,
like Thanksgiving to
Joe
midterms.
Gibbs is gonna be, remote.
Okay.
And Peter Slovak will probably not be here.
All right.
Bob Kelly should be here. I didn't talk to him today. And then Live Love Local, is not coming.
Really?
They can't make it today. It was kind of too short notice. They can't make it in October either, but, we
this is-
tentatively planned on November.
That's because Amanda Converse is the new economic development person in Orleans. She's not
Oh,
at that anymore. It's just Jen Villa.
She's the one who responded. Amanda.
I think because she didn't start quite yet, but I went
Oh.
to Jen Villa, and her husband own the West End.
Yeah.
and we went to-
I looked her
We
up.
went to dinner last week, and as soon as I walked in, she goes, "Hi, oh my God, we have so many things to talk about." And I was like, "Get me a martini, and then we can talk."
I already.
She's so cute. We sat down, and my fiance goes, "What was that about?" And I was like, "Honestly, she wasn't too specific, but it's only one thing I can think about. It's the CEDC in Yarmouth." I was like, "But who knows? She can talk to me about anything. It'd be fine." Have you guys been there?
Love that place.
I love it too.
Where is
It's at the Rotary in the West End Rotary in Hyannis.
What's the name of it?
The West End.
West End? No, I have not.
It's so good.
It has the best brunch.
Yeah, they have really, really good brunch.
Do they?
Really good brunch
It's
and really
the
good dinner.
only place that you can get brunch, like, and a like mimosa with brunch.
Yeah,
I think it's the only place on Cape.
it's great. It's so good. And when we went 2 weeks ago, we just got like a ton of their little appetizers and we were so full. We like brought some stuff home.
I've
they-
never been. Is it vegan or?
No, it's not. It's kind of like, I would say like, it appears to be like high end and fancy. Like their food is definitely like above what you would get anywhere else on Main Street. But it's like,
You don't
Really
feel the,
It's
yeah.
jazzy.
yeah, it's jazzy. Yes. You know, yeah. And they do like a jazz.
They have a jazz brunch.
Yeah,
Oh, very nice.
it's great. I love it.
You
We
like
love
jazz
it there.
brunch too?
It's like our special little like,
Well, it's our
like-
good date.
Yeah,
night.
yeah, it's our good date night.
Between that and Pelham House is our other.
Oh,
favorite.
nice. Yeah, I was like, we need a date night and this is the only place I can get in past 7 o'clock. So here we go.
Right.
No, it's right. You get that.
Yeah.
Hello.
We like never go out.
Oh,
What's
Trust
matter?
me,
Is that what I've been doing 25 years?
Yeah, not doing anything. We're a bad example.
What's up?
don't
We're
worry.
a very bad
Or if
example.
you have kids.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Causing trouble?
Yeah, then we'll
Hey, Joe.
the 99. And that's like,
We avoid everything.
Yeah.
Like it's literally not worth.
I miss
One of
it,
us has to
Joe.
be chasing the toddlers.
Yeah,
We're
no.
like, it's literally not worth
no,
it.
it's
The
not.
only place we go is.
Karen, did I
Brewers because
respond
it's
that I was
actually-
coming?
I'm
Well, yeah,
sorry.
I-
say
I
again,
can
please.
Respond that I was coming?
I don't know that you responded that you were coming, but I believe you did say thank you.
We have a quorum?
You did
You
better
do.
than me then, because I don't.
Ready to go?
You
Yeah,
didn't do
we
either.
got 2 minutes.
I did.
That's
How you
okay.
doing?
Not a-
Courtney,
Hello, Joseph.
fantastic. How are you?
I'm great.
Okay, so I've got Joe Gibbs joining the meeting too.
All right, good. And you're a Seaside lady, right?
Jan Butler,
Again. Welcome to our meeting.
thank you.
Okay, ready to go? Let's start the meeting. I'm gonna cut this short here. MGL Chapter 30, Sections 18 to 25 pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021. And modified June 16, 2021, as extended by Chapter 2 of 2023, the Yarmouth Community Economic Development Committee will hold a public meeting on Tuesday, September 10th at 5 p.m. at Town Hall Offices 1146 through 28 South Yarmouth. Public is welcome to attend either in person or via the alternative public access provided on the notice of meeting available on the Town of Yarmouth website. Can I take a roll call for attendance?
Courtney Butler here.
Newcomb here.
Joseph Manning here. Joe
Joe Gibbs from
and Steve O'Neill.
Interwebs.
How you doing, Joe? Good. All right.
Good, thank you.
Great, okay, excellent. All right, first up on the agenda is committee reorganization. It's been my privilege to serve as your chair for a number of years here, and with that said, I'd like to step aside and turn it over to somebody else, some fresher, younger.
I don't know about fresher eyes, but
How do you want to proceed?
younger.
Yes, absolutely. I just want to keep my hair now, even though.
Right down with the old age jokes.
Well, Courtney left it hanging out there.
She did, she did.
So how do you want to proceed? Does anyone have an interest in assuming the chair? The role of chairwoman?
yeah,
Courtney?
yes. Do we need nominations and all that?
I nominate Courtney Butler for chair.
Is this the thing we have to second?
Yeah,
Second.
I accept.
Great, all those in favor?
Hi.
I,
Oh, so voted. We knew a vice chair?
You do.
I'd
Right,
like
helpful.
to nominate Danielle.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Joe, you
Okay.
voting?
I heard Joe say yes on both of those, yes?
Yes,
Yes. All right, good.
Great.
Madam Chair.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congrat-
Well, yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. Thank you so much for all your work and being chair the last several years. We really appreciate it. And I'm glad you're sticking around.
Great.
You're not just leaving us. And Danielle, I'm happy to work with you.
I'm excited.
Yes, this will be great. All right, so the next item is Seaside Festival request. So we have Jan Butler here. And let's hear what you gotta say.
Well, last year at town meeting, there was an article and it was voted on that $50,000 could be put aside for town fees, which is not eligible to be used in the grant. And it was stated that it was for the St. Patty's Day Parade and the Seaside Festival. So I went to Mr. Wittenhauer and asked how we proceed to get the okay that we can apply for these the money. And he said I would have to come before you. So here I am.
All right, if I could.
Yeah.
Because you were remote last time. This subject came up. I'm gonna, if I say something incorrect, Karen, you jump right in, please. This very subject came up at our last meeting. The chairman of the Board of Selectmen, Mark Forrest, was here. And he happened to be at a meeting preceding ours, and he stuck around for our meeting. And at the end of our meeting, toward the end of our meeting, I asked him the question, that very question, it came up, the vote came up at town meeting. And he said, again, I'm paraphrasing him, but I think I'm paraphrasing correctly, that money was to be used for public safety activities for parades. Specifically, he said the St. Patrick's Day parade. Didn't ask about anything else. I'm being honest. If I'm got that incorrect, Karen, Stace.
If in fact you would go back to the records, the festival was mentioned.
Okay, at the,
It was
I think we got,
Town meeting.
at town meeting and it was voted on.
Madam Chair, from my perspective, I was most interested in because of the the issues that we went through last time, where we specifically stood on that issue relative to public safety in the St. Patrick's Day Committee. So in that, I got the answer for that. That money that has been set aside, the 50,000 that was set aside. Obviously, it's broader in scope. It's for parades, but it definitely includes St. Patrick's. So,
So subsequent to that meeting, I went and we had an email exchange with Bob, and I should have printed it out and like, when anyways. Because I went to ask for clarification.
Yeah.
Understanding, Jan had approached, Bob with the same question.
Yep.
And the way I understand it is, Bob indicated that in the future, hopefully, that the funding will be there for kind of all of the special events. But that the $50,000 that was voted at town meeting is intended for the parade.
St. Patrick's Day. Parade.
Yes.
As along with last year's money, this year's money, and next year's money, which is all set up.
Hmm.
They don't have to write a grant for it. They don't have to do anything.
If I could, I'm glad you brought that up, because I did ask the chairman that as well. And he said they are expected to submit a grant application like everyone else for the use of.
It didn't happen the year before.
Well, you don't have to tell me that.
I know.
Or the guy next to you. So, we fought pretty vigorously on that, and
Mentioned you specifically.
yeah.
Well, so is this a yes or a no?
Well, so unfortunately, so
This
I
is,
don't think
this is
money
for
we can
safety.
right.
This is for safety.
We don't even have this money.
Yeah, this money is technically not ours. It's in the selectmen's line item. And that's how it was voted at town meeting. So it's their
I
money
think that Jan's request is.
for more money from us.
Is for additional, tourism revenue preservation. Fund
This is how
funds.
Bob told me that I should proceed.
Yeah, I saw that email. So,
So I have
Yeah.
proceeded.
so now the question is, do we want to allocate more money to the Seaside Festival this year from our tourism revenue preservation funds? And from the packet, it looks like you're requesting 13.5.
Yes, I met with the fire department and they believe their budget will be $6,000 this year. I did meet with Mike Bryant this morning. He does not have a figure. I explained that I put in $1,000 more than what we were charged last year. And it's difficult because he doesn't know when he fills the slots, whether it's a lieutenant, whether it's a patrolman, whether it's gonna be a Dennis cop or a Falmouth cop. And so it's really hard. So what I did was, last year, the police was like 6,500. This year, I put in for 7,500. So that's your 13.5, and I did state that it would be up to, we would not take a dime more than what we needed, but it would certainly help out the festival.
And the balance, so I
Yeah,
put
thank
up
you.
on the screen the current budget. And so this is the special event line, so this is where you would need to take funding from. So unallocated, so, and let me go up here. Where's freeze panes? There it is. So.
While you're doing that, can I just get some clarification? You asking for money for this year?
Yes,
Yes,
Okay. So you'll be submitting an application for that money and some for next year, yes?
This year's request now, because the requests for 2025 haven't gone
Well,
out
that's
yet.
what I'm trying to get at. I'm not
no, this
understanding.
is just for this year.
It's basically like an amendment.
We assumed,
Okay, that's
Exactly.
good. Okay, that's good. I
So
understand.
we've already allocated 24.5.
Yep. So she's asking for another,
no, we got
No,
22 this year.
22.
Yeah, we had 22.
We got less
22.
this year than last year, so
we had less money to pull around.
Right,
She's asking
exactly.
for another 13.5 on top of what she has. Yes, okay.
I have a.
Yeah.
In your application, how much was allocated to police and fire?
Was,
It looks. a lot.
you can't apply in a grant for police and fire.
No, you had a,
can.
you had a
You just-
budget.
The town cannot waive fees.
Yeah, she had a budget
So
and
we
it was,
can't.
We didn't apply any of that towards,
This was just, your
We just have
request
the
was
estimate.
for,
We gave
But-
for the fireworks.
it was fireworks and field events.
right, but in her budget, she did carry an amount in there for
I can-
public
I can-
safety.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a lot.
It was around 13.5.
I think it was
Big-
around that number that Jan
If
is
I remember
Yeah.
correctly,
noting.
the 22 was for fireworks is what we
Yeah,
Yep.
agreed
Oh,
to,
no.
where that number came from.
Mhm.
I didn't do it.
I lost my connection.
So
It was around there.
I understand.
it was, yeah, it looks like it was 8,000 for police and 6,500 estimated for fire. So 14.5.
So in your application, what had you budgeted for? I think is it better?
In my grant application.
Yeah.
It was mainly for the fireworks. The reason I write the grant like that is because it's so much easier to pay one lump
Mhm.
sum.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
we're with you on that.
So I put it in for fireworks and or field entertainment fees.
Big checks.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, the point I'm trying to get at is that you're asking us now for the entirety of the police and fire stuff.
Correct.
Jan, did you have like a shortfall somewhere? Did you not get some money that you had expected to get for the details? You know, from someone else?
No, it's just that this is our 45th year. We're trying to make it bigger and better. And I was concerned about how much money we can spend, whether we get this money that the town voted on, that we thought voted on, or not.
Mhm.
So that's 13,500 that either we could use additionally to up the quality of the festival, or do we need to save it to pay the town fees? Our budget,
So how would the money be used? I'm just, if you don't mind. I'm looking, how would you be using the
Yeah.
13.5?
I'm trying to find the email from
Otherwise.
Bob.
I would
For
add more to
different-
the fireworks.
Okay,
We don't know, if we may have to pay for some hotel rooms this year because all our entertainment contracts call for 3 nights. A lot of the hotels are not as community generous. A lot of the hotels have been changed hands in the last few
Mhm.
years. So that's an unknown. I still don't know. I mean, it could cost me $1,000 per entertainer for 9 entertainers. And that's the difficulty with our festival is there are so many unknowns at the last minute that we have to hold money aside. We're afraid to spend it because there's nobody to fill it in if we fail, you know, a rainy day or whatever it is. I mean, we make probably $9,000 flipping hamburgers and meatballs. Well, if it rains 2 days, we're screwed. Sorry, you know? So it's all that we work with constantly. And we try to have money left over so that we can start next year's, because our money doesn't come in until after the event or until we get fees from our food vendors and our crafters. So our budget is like reverse everybody else's.
If I could,
Yeah, you and then Joe.
Jan, just one more time, your understanding from the town meeting, you were probably there or you saw it on.
We were all there,
Okay.
all the
Your
committee.
understanding was that 50,000 was to be allocated to public safety.
The parade
For the parade.
and the festival.
And the festival.
Yep.
And yet we don't have that same clarity coming from the town administrator. So,
well, we have the email from the town
He said, "Come
administrator,
here."
and I think that's as clear as.
he said, come here for okay.
He told me, he said, CDC has money. He said, I will go there for you. And I said, no, that's quite all right. But he said, you'll have to go there for this year. So here I am.
It was on August 29. Joe Gibbs, do you have anything while we're?
So I guess just my question for Jan is that the only reason she's here now is because of that $50,000 that was allocated at town meeting, which occurred after our tourism grant program, correct?
Yes.
So, I mean, to me, I know that a lot of it was revolving around St. Patrick's Parade, but my understanding too is it was going to be for all events or all of the larger community events. You know, I would think that we should try to support it, but the selectmen, I believe, are the final say for that bucket of money. If we want to go back into, you know, our grant, I mean, we do have some funding because the Cod Fest had postponed for a year. But I believe the only reason she's here then is because of that 50,000 in that town meeting. It was brought up Seaside and St. Patrick's Day Parade. I think that that's really where we should go, is towards the selectmen and see how they want to allocate that money, because it was really their funds. I mean, we could make a recommendation to the selectmen to allocate a portion of that $50,000 for the public safety expenses of Seaside. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but it could be a recommendation.
Believe this year's money was already spent.
I think the,
Well-
haven't seen that, I'm sorry, can I just jump?
Yeah,
in?
go
Haven't
ahead.
seen that email again,
That parade
the
has.
town administrator,
That's my point too, is that
that's pretty clear.
It happened in March, didn't it?
no,
Seeing the
but
email.
this money was for FY 25.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The money allocated was for FY 25, which theoretically would be March of this coming year.
Oh, okay.
So it hasn't
Okay.
technically,
25.
yeah, in October of 25 for you. So it theoretically,
Okay.
and by definition of fiscal years, uh, I think the issue here is that that line item has not been clear from the start. It was not clear at town meeting until people started questioning it, and it has not been clear now because we've heard many different things as to what it was to be used for. The bottom line of that line item, though, is that it's not it's the select board's line item, not CEDC.
And not CDC.
So we can't really do anything with it except potentially maybe advocate that a clear understanding of what it will be used for be made public, because it is within the public's right to know what that vote is going for and how the funds will be used. But I think for tonight, we need to take a decision on if we want to support Jan's request in paying giving money for the details, or find another process in which, I don't know if we want to go to the select board and talk about it and broaden this discussion with them, but the Seaside Festival is in like a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
Um,
You don't need to remind me.
So
Right.
Joe, do you have anything you want to say or any questions, comments?
Yeah, I mean, we're potentially setting a precedent,
That's what I was.
Right,
and
right.
that, it's clear to me that 2025 is the year that we should be talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know that we're capable of talking about 2024 because
I misunderstood. I did not realize that it was for 2025.
Yeah.
When it was
Fiscal year
slated.
2025, yeah.
Which is the current fiscal year.
So your
Fiscal year.
event happens in this fiscal year, but you'll get paid the next succeeding fiscal year.
I think unfortunately
No,
there's.
no. I'm sorry, Joe, can I just,
Sure.
so when the CEDC does the special event grant
Yeah.
program, the awards are made on a calendar year
Right.
base.
Right.
So you look at all of the events for calendar year
So between-
24, which is split between two
Twenty-
fiscal years.
Yeah.
So fiscal year 25 runs from July 1, 24 to
Right.
June 30th,
Right.
25.
Yeah.
So your event is calendar 24, but fiscal year 25.
Okay.
Sorry, Joe.
No, that's
No,
good
that's
clarification.
That's, I think you're right.
I unfortunately, I think that the way that this situation got addressed, probably we should have anticipated that there was going to be some sort of a shaking out over this overlapping year where an event got pulled from our purview and put into another purview.
Right.
Yeah. And I guess bouncing off of that too, my concern is that I haven't officially heard that the parade is coming back in March. And I would hate for that money to wait and wait and wait until March and have nothing happen. And then it could have been used for the events that we funded for details. And I think that's a concern of mine, is that,
So that would be funded, I'm sorry to interrupt, that would be funded out of this year, because it's in
FY 25.
FY 24 though, the parade in 25 is from FY 24, correct? Because we just passed it at town meeting.
No, we just approved the FY 25
Oh, the F.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I get
budget,
it.
so
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
So I guess that's my
Right.
concern, is that,
well, we should know when the applications go out and who responds, right? So we'll know that
yeah,
by the end of this calendar year.
but will they be applying?
that's the other question that we don't know, is that,
We'll know at the end of this calendar year.
There's nothing we can
yeah.
do about that, unfortunately.
it's up to them. to
Right.
apply or not.
But they would be applying for 26?
They will
No.
be applying
For calendar year 25.
calendar year 25. So if the
Calendar year
parade-
25.
If any events that are gonna come in for application and consideration later this year will be for calendar 25.
Right.
Calendar 25 includes January to June is fiscal 25, July to December is fiscal 26.
So they could be potentially applying this fall for an additional sum on top of the 50.
They could,
But this is irrelevant to Jan.
Yeah, no, I'm-
no, it is irrelevant. I'm just,
It is relevant.
It is.
I know.
yeah, it's
It is
just
very
I guess whatever I'm coming from with it is just that, like,
We get that.
if we,
Functioning of this.
yeah,
Yeah.
functions, because if, yeah,
You hit the
I'm
nail on the
sorry
head.
to
You-
put a bee in your bonnet, all these, you know, I mean, it's like.
No.
I think we need to get more clarification, right? Someone said that a moment
Yeah.
ago, so let's get some more specificity if we can from the Board of Selectmen.
I mean, I'm not sure what else they're gonna say beyond that email.
Good luck.
I mean, if they haven't heard from this is, this time last year, we were getting ready to roll out the RFP, were we not? I mean,
We had done.
we had already done so. So the parade,
Well, last year,
so the parade should know by now if it's happening or not in
Oh,
Yarmouth.
yeah,
And
exactly.
I,
Last
the only
year-
people they seem to talk to are the select board,
Right.
so,
We couldn't get an answer.
last year, when it was time, grant, the RFPs had to be in September,
yeah.
which was a month before we even had our festival.
I know, yeah,
was-
which was,
Onerous for you.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I guess because I mean, because this are funds for you anyway, work on a reimbursement basis. It's not like we could write you, if we voted tonight, we couldn't write you a check.
oh, I understand that, I understand.
So
that.
you could, would you be okay waiting until we got more
Absolutely,
clarification?
absolutely.
I
I mean, if
think-
you said no, then it would be no, but I
Yeah,
mean, this is our 45th year.
yeah,
Yep, yep.
yeah, it's a big one.
It's a 3-day as opposed to 3-hour.
Hmm.
We earn our money, they don't.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Reaching to the point.
yeah,
Hey.
yeah. Well, we thank you for coming in and for putting a bee in our bonnet, as you said, because I think it's something that's kind of more so emphasizing the point than what we've been trying to make, that this new line item that was voted on has kind of put a kink in our program and the way that we operate. And so, yes.
I get that.
Yeah.
I understand totally.
But we also understand how confusing it was for you
And frustrating.
and frustrating, because it was also confusing and frustrating for us. But I am looking forward to the Seaside Festival.
Yes.
I'm excited.
And I wish I could have a beer tent for you, honey.
Oh, no, that was me, but that's okay. That was me, Jan.
What if you wanted a beer tent?
No, it's okay. No.
We can't,
She's like, I don't have the baby now, I'll take it.
we can't afford the liability.
Yeah, and that's fine. So we're,
Because
yeah, but
we're not
we're
getting it.
excited to be there and we're excited to support you.
if I got 13.5, maybe I
Yeah.
could have a beer. tent.
So maybe after, so we're talking about the, we're talking about the, yeah. We're talking about the next year's event application later tonight. And so by the end of this calendar year, we will definitely know more on where this money
Okay,
goes.
How will you proceed? between now and
Cautiously.
Next month.
cautiously. put people up in my house. I don't know. Put them up in your house. I don't know. No, hopefully, you know,
You get it done every year. So.
we'll get it done
Okay.
somehow.
Yeah.
It ain't easy, but
No,
we do.
thank you for doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
45 years.
With Lord willing, maybe we'll have one next year.
Yeah.
There's nobody waiting in the wings, I gotta tell you. I keep trying, but nobody is stupid.
Has the chamber ever offered to partner bigger with you on this event? Like, the dentist chamber does the dentist chamber days. And
100 years ago.
And I'm not sure why we don't have a Yarmouth.
They haven't, we tried 2 years ago, and it was just easier at this point that it was just,
Yeah.
we've done it for so long. That it runs, it works, and we're all volunteers, so we
Yeah.
don't have a lot of time for meetings and la 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 la
Mhm.
la. I'm lucky to get them to do what I gotta
Yeah.
to do.
All right. Well, we will be back in touch for sure. And we
Thank you.
appreciate you and your
Thank you.
committee for all that you do for Yarmouth.
And I appreciate all you guys too.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Sorry that
And
No,
Oh, sorry, we didn't have better
Yeah.
news for you.
Yeah, or any news or answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eh, just keep on plugging away.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
For going.
Thanks,
Thank
Jan.
you.
Take care.
Volunteering And yours. Take care.
Karen, have you seen the warrant for fall town meeting?
No, they're talking
No,
about it
they're-
tonight.
it's on the agenda for this evening. With the
What?
Board of Select Board. Whether and what to put on a fall town meeting warrant.
Gotcha.
Cause I imagine that budget item will appear in Springtown meeting for this
Yeah, it's got a,
similar
yeah.
use.
It was part of the annual budget.
Mhm.
So anything that happens at a special is kind of outside the norm.
Well, we'll see what we see when we get our applications in, if they're going to submit or not.
So just so I know what you're expecting, would you like me to draft some kind of memo?
Yeah, you and I can
Or-
work on that.
Okay,
And I guess. Yeah, I have a couple questions. I'm looking at the select board packet now and I have. Pink Ribbon Pickleball is asking to waive a court fee and certificate of insurance requirement. Who the heck is that?
I just happen to know it's a special pickleball event
Okay,
to benefit breast cancer at Flax Pond.
okay. I'm just, the waiving a town fee and a certificate of insurance requirement caught my eye. Okay, and they're also gonna do the entertainment license and bonfire permit for the Seaside Festival tonight, so. Jan has a long night ahead of her. Okay, yeah, you and I can work, but I mean, I'm guessing if there's anything you guys want us to particularly say, but the gist that I'm understanding from us is that. We need clarification on this $50,000. We need clarification and the fiscal year. It's a fiscal 25. By this time. They should know if the parade is coming back and I want to know what happens if they don't come back. And we don't hear that until January. Like, are these events allowed to go to them for?
Yeah.
Reimbursement?
Yes, good point. Yep.
If they are coming back, are we potentially not gonna get an application from them? Could they be having a parade in March and us not getting an application from them? Oh, that's a
Yeah.
possibility. right?
Yes,
It is
Absolutely.
right.
I mean, it's really up to anybody to come and ask for tourism funding.
Right,
So if you can do it without it, then you don't have to come.
right.
All right. We good on this?
Yes,
Okay. So, the next item, Love Live Local Program Overview, that is, gonna be tabled for a bit. They were not available tonight. Special event application materials and calendar. Karen has done these packets up. Thank you. Yeah,
Oh, please, it's right in back.
so
jeez. Sunglasses?
after the July 31st little workshop that we had, Karen and Joe and I went back and did a little bit more wordsmithing and workshopping, and then Karen and I just kind of wrapped this up and put a little bow on it. If you wanna,
Yeah, I don't think it's bow ready. But
Right,
it's-
well, the
it's-
tape is there waiting for a
yeah,
bow to be
but
stuck
yeah, we
on when
bought
it's
the
all
bow.
set.
We bought the bow. But yeah, Courtney's right. We went back and forth. Courtney and Joe found some really good other materials from other communities in New York State. And I think that we've done a good job kind of merging things. The things that I think we heard the committee saying is they wanted more complete applications. We want everybody to answer every question and to provide detailed marks. Detailed final report. We've made the final report a condition for reimbursement, so you don't get reimbursement unless you submitted your final report. The one, and Courtney, I didn't kind of remind you of this when we were talking. The one item where there's an exception to that is in the contract, and we can talk about this if you guys don't want this. In the past, when we've funded marketing efforts, we've permitted up to 25% of the grant to be paid out in advance of the event with the condition that the contract for the marketing item is provided to us. Understanding that, marketing has to happen in advance. But again, it's only limited to 25% of the full amount. So questions, some of these things are highlighted, and this packet is a bunch of pieces. So the first part is the narrative. The committee agreed to allocate $140,000. I do want to just note, and it's totally up to you, because Codstock, did not utilize their funding this year. We're returning it, and it'll go back into the kind of special events unallocated. So in theory, you have 190, but if you don't want to make that full amount available right away, you don't have to. We've also had the provision before, and I'm going to make a note to make sure we included it, that you're not obligated to
Spend it all.
spend it all.
Yeah.
But this says 140, she said 150, right?
180.
It should say what you guys would
Well-
like it to say.
Well, the unallocated.
50 and the 40.
First line of here, it says 140.
It said 140. We talked about it, and that's what you guys had last year.
Mhm.
And I believe we talked about it and said that we were gonna put forth the same amount. But when you did the budgeting for the fiscal 25 appropriations, you just so happened to put 150 into the special events bucket. And you're just deciding to use it.
That's being
140.
downstairs. That article? Or we already
No, I'm confused. Joe, so
confusing my fiscal years.
so we had the FY 25
Yeah, I have words for the manual.
Annual
the fiscal years.
annual town meeting, right, which was held in April. And it's at the annual town meeting that we do the budget for the next fiscal year, that
So,
being FY
FY
25.
Yep,
You guys kind of, because you have the luxury of kind of money in the bank.
Yep.
And you don't use it or lose it, you can
Okay.
carry it forward.
appropriate.
You've designed the tourism fund special event program to be on a calendar year basis. As part of the FY 25 budgeting, where we take the estimates of your total tourism fund revenue, that's what comes from the hotel motel and the meals tax. For the town meeting article, which we'll be doing in December and January for fiscal 26, you allocated $150,000 for special event.
Understood. Okay. I'm clear
Okay.
now.
Happy to go over it if you,
No, it's okay.
Everything.
I remember all the,
it's,
now it's a calculation. and-
it's confusing though.
Column.
All the fiscal years are confusing.
Just,
Um,
just on that 140 plus the 50 for 190, I'm reluctant to do that only because, if they do come back and they are very strong and viable and they can do this, then we gotta find $50,000 from someplace else for them.
and the reminder, I think it's wise, I think it's cautious and
Mhm.
conservative.
No, I-
Frugal, because you can't move money between your buckets
Right.
without town meeting.
Right, and if we find within a reasonable time, and don't ask me what that is right now, but they should know, in 6 months or so, whether they're gonna be viable or not, then we can make a decision,
Mhm.
so. You
Mhm.
guys okay with it?
Yeah,
So you want to keep it at 140?
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, Purposes, we said, we went around and about, we've done a lot of talking and kind of a lot of talking, and we landed kind of where we were on a number of things. But funding for marketing and production of events. We'll talk about a calendar at the end. Background is largely the same. I'm happy to host a meeting. I included at the top of page 2. Please note, application materials have changed this year. Applicants should review materials carefully and be sure to complete the application in full, not in full, and to provide any required information. And I'm happy to host a meeting to walk whoever wants to come. If committee members want to come too, that's great, but you know, I can do it during the day or whatever. Just it's a nice thing to offer people.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Eligibility applicants, we just make clear that it could be for-profit and or not-for-profit.
Hey, Joe,
There he
Hey,
is.
Joe, that was fast.
come on down.
We said, this is a new thing that past recipients need to have completed all of their final reports,
Page 2.
for all prior awards.
Nice job, guys.
Under expenses.
Oh, I
we-
like that. Yeah,
We've
theoretically, if they don't have it and they don't submit it with their application, they don't move further until.
And the
Yep.
final reports going forward are better than the final reports.
Yeah.
But we've added some other ineligible costs on top of the airfare, hotel, meals and alcohol. Payroll and salaries, staff travel.
Travel, spelling.
Got it,
Got it.
not travel. Annual operating, administrative and maintenance costs, just that's kind of.
Makes sense.
We just want to pay for the event.
Yep.
I've kept in there the mention that the fees will not be waived. Program and funding requirements, just trying to tell everybody what the rules are. They're required to meet with whoever we say. They have to enter into the contract agreement with the town. We want a specific date for the event. They need, so this is new too. We say, receipt of appropriate permissions for use of town-owned land and all licensing requirements are to be completed 60 days in advance. So I don't know if that's unreasonable or not, but I think the idea is you want to have your
No,
place and your license so that you can market.
Yep.
yeah, I don't think it's unreasonable at
No.
all.
Yeah, if 2 months out, you don't know if you have a
You don't have an
location,
event.
Right,
that's,
You don't have an event.
yeah.
right. And then, yeah,
Sorry, can I ask
Oh.
one question?
please,
The specific date for the event,
yes.
I like it. I think that makes sense. That is a very, we have one group that is, are we saying we're just not gonna fund the, what is it? that they-
Cultural center?
Cultural center then?
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about that. What I was thinking about was. We want to know that the XYZ special event is going to be on October, whatever. The idea is to know. When,
Why don't we just
with regards
pluralize
to
that?
the peak season or whatever.
Yeah,
Why don't we just pluralize that? Date.
yeah, because they typically, I
fine.
think they typically.
That's fine.
Yeah,
know
that's fine.
when,
Yep.
But yeah, I get what you're saying.
I was just,
Yeah.
yeah, curious if that was.
I like, you're like,
purposeful or
I
not.
like it.
Yeah. We throw in the forms and the web location for the licensing forms. We say that they must agree to track attendance and provide documentation regarding the number of attendance. I gotta decide how I wanna spell attendance.
Mhm, yep.
And the extent to which attendance impacts the local economy. Event organizer methodology for collecting this information will be provided. It's part of the application. Tell us how you're gonna collect this information. We ask for high resolution photographs and video. I have to check the chamber contract. I can't remember if we were asking them to do that this year.
To document all the events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they've got the kind of capacity to do it. So I'll double check on that.
Mhm.
post-event report, they are required to submit a post-event form prior to reimbursement. I already mentioned that. Just a reminder that this is reimbursement funding, that you have to front the money and then we'll reimburse you, and
Sorry, can we go
we've got
back?
the forms to do it.
The photography one, can we pluralize event?
Yeah,
Same idea.
yeah. I'll do a word search too, Joe. Good comment. So the funding reimbursement thing, and then we've got, they agree to the following marketing requirements, which are further detailed. I'm gonna add some details to our contract around, the marketing requirements, things like the logo placement, the working with the, Chamber of Commerce on their advertising, mentions on TV or anything like that. This one I wanted to run by you, and this was one that we kind of added. Marketing efforts shall primarily target out-of-town / off-Cape visitors to encourage overnight visitations through their promotions.
Do we say like
Is that what you want?
where appropriate?
Yeah.
When appropriate?
Yeah,
Okay.
where and when appropriate. Yep.
All right, marketing campaigns should begin no less than 90 days prior to the event. Maybe we make it 60. What do you think? Because we get
Yeah.
the 60 just for
Yeah, yeah.
consistency with the licensing and whatnot. And Mark, this is, again, the general stuff. We'll have more detailed language into the contract. And then the catch-all additional constraints may be identified by the town and incorporated into the TRPF contract. So anything you guys come up with, if you're gonna say the funding should be for the fireworks, it should be for this, that, the other thing, you can't do this. That's nothing new.
I was just gonna make the comment to suggest maybe that Town of Yarmouth Tourism Revenue Preservation Fund might get an acronym put to it, Town of Yarmouth TRPF, and or make it an or. It's, I don't know,
I know, it's a mouthful.
it is a mouthful. It's almost like the Water Resource Reclamation Facility,
Right.
Mhm.
Or,
the RORF.
Yeah, I think an acronym's fine.
okay,
Do you want to say or?
yeah, that's fine by me.
Some of them, like, I'm just thinking
What do you
of
guys
like an
think?
ad that
Fine.
Yeah,
it's really small. That,
yeah. Good point.
All right, and then application instructions. Must complete. The application, the budget, the marketing plan, and provide required documentation. W-9 form is just part of the, what they need to give us so they can get paid. And then 501c3 documentation, I guess. The relevant.
Can I just-
certificate. Please.
That bullet point number 2, the last word in that sentence, considered, can we change it to accepted?
Oh,
Where do you-
incomplete applications will not be accepted.
Yes.
Instead of be
Oh, sure.
I was gonna even suggest moving that bullet point into a more prominent, either at the beginning or at the end. That's,
And I can put it in,
Right before,
more than one place.
Yeah, it can go.
I can put it,
right before the application review and rating criteria.
Well, complete applications are due no later. Does that, do you want to put it around there?
Okay,
Yeah, that makes sense.
that's fine.
And the first page, complete applications are due by. And
can also put it in
oh,
eligibility.
yeah. Tell them 3 times.
Hey, not to be a bull race over this thing, but I recall last time we had we had a application that was scribbled and written
want-
over questions. I don't know how we can
Yeah, so.
format or
the
something.
way- You'll see when we get to the form.
Okay,
I set the
okay.
form up as a table in Word
Okay,
and I'll figure it out. I don't know how to do it, but I think I can like protect the questions so they can't change that.
right.
And then what I was thinking we should just have them do is type it in the Word document. Alternatively, I can put it into a PDF,
That's fine.
Yeah.
but that's how I
full-
want it,
Right.
and I want it electronically submitted. I
Yeah.
don't want
Yeah,
stacks of paper.
yeah,
No need for that. Right,
So-
agreed.
Well, so
Okay,
we can compare apples to apples, when it's
yeah,
hieroglyphics, it's really hard. to-
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can, I think I know how to do that, but
Okay, if I can't figure it out, I'll call you.
I do it in PDF. so.
It's probably super easy to make a fillable PDF. actually.
Yeah, I even learned how to make word and character limitation,
Wow, look at you.
right?
Cool.
but then if you do it in PDF, you have to have Adobe,
No,
no?
no, you can make it an editable. You don't have to have Adobe to open, kind of any PDF viewer that you open, it will have the boxes pop up to fill it in.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
Probably do it.
Yeah.
And that way we can keep a limit on.
Perfect.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Perfect.
cool. We're moving into the 21st
Yeah,
century.
right? Almost the 20. All right, are we good up until
Criteria.
application review and rating criteria?
Yeah,
All right, so then we just give them a little preview on process that we'll review them at a publicly noticed open meeting and that they may be asked to attend. Applications will be reviewed for completeness. This font is wacky here. And organizational, this is all the old language, organizational capacity to successfully carry out the proposed event. Event proposals will also be reviewed based on their impact on the community and promotion of tourism. Maybe we just say local tourism economy.
Could I just,
Local
I guess
economy.
back with, sorry.
Yeah, please.
In the page two, top of page two, it says, please note,
Mhm.
and then we're talking about review and rating criteria. It says the town will hold a meeting to review application materials on blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
Will the town or will the
She
CEDC?
that she,
Oh, sorry.
I'm happy
I
to
missed-
do it.
Just going over
We
what
can,
the
I'm
new-
happy to schedule another
that's the-
CEDC meeting.
That's the preliminary, just, we got them
That's
all in,
like-
make sure they're all complete.
no,
No.
that's the before they're in, like, this is what's
If they have
new this year.
questions.
That's the high. We have, we're just announcing this. We'll time it with the legal ad. And, hey, everybody, the application materials have changed
Got
this
it.
year and
Yep.
I want you to know what's in here.
Got it.
And so, happy to have if anyone here wants to do the meeting, that's fine. I'm happy to do it. Just let me know how you want to.
I think, so we're still on that page two up top there, the town, maybe it should just say the CEDC.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll schedule a meeting.
Cause I was like, Joe, I was saying, wait a minute, is the board of selectmen gonna get involved at this
No,
point?
no, town
But-
staff,
Oh,
Town staff,
I tried to just say, so in the vein of mouthfuls,
right.
I just used town.
If we put
Because, like, we
CEDC,
are
then
the
we gotta,
town.
we.
Capital J.
Review all that stuff. We
Right.
want Karen to.
Okay, town staff, that's fine. Good
To be
point,
the clearinghouse,
good point.
right?
I'm happy
Yeah.
to.
That's
And it's easier than scheduling a meeting.
right,
Yeah.
Yes.
right.
So
We're using
town
these for
staff,
this purpose.
town or whatever.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah, I'll leave it. I'm just, yep. Awesome.
Just, can I go back to on page 3?
Yeah,
That post-event report, is that the final report that we always talk about? or-
it is. So it's a new word. It's just, I mean, we can call it final report. That's just what the Lake George people were calling it.
My only question with that is the final report, we require a complete budget summary. That sometimes can take a couple months
I know.
to do, so to ask, that would mean that we couldn't reimburse them for anything, so that may leave some events hanging for a couple months.
I know.
So
I
I don't-
thought of that. We were talking about that. What
Well,
do you think?
we don't have a timeline on it. It just says prior to reimbursement, so.
Yeah, like if they fronted the money, if they,
Well, not all organizations confront all the money.
But presumably they made some money at the event, so they're gonna have to be smart about what they're doing with the funds that they collect at their event.
To get paid, they need to show us the bill for the item. And they have to, so I pay Steve. And then I also have to be able to show you my bank statement where Steve basically cashed that check.
Hmm.
That it's proof of purchase and proof of payment.
Yeah.
And so if they've been paid, if the vendor, I mean, and I understand your point, Joe, because I think sometimes events hold off paying vendors or whatever. because they're waiting for money to come in and,
Right, I mean, I just know my previous life is that, you know, like especially for the events that have the big town bills.
Mhm.
One year we had, you know, I had to come to the town and go, hey, can you just pay this bill direct to the police and the fire department?
Right.
Because,
and we did.
right, because we don't have an extra 12 or 15 grand on hand to pay it until it gets reimbursed. So that's just my only, I don't know quite how all the events were. I mean, that was this big, huge town fee, and it was, I think transferring it was actually easier than cutting all the checks and doing all the other stuff, but I just didn't know if that really is gonna hang. I know that we want some sort of report. I didn't know if there was some sort of intermediate report we were looking for, and then the final, you know, the final report would be nice to have everything that's completely accurate. I just don't
So
know
the
how.
way that we used to do it is, and we haven't been diligent about adhering to it, is saying, all but 25% will get paid out, but we're holding back on the 25 until we have that final report.
No, and I'm all with, yeah, having something. I just didn't know if all your.
I just wanted to
But
throw that out if you wanna reconsider this.
What if you said something like
The
special
requirement.
requests for reimbursements will be considered? Like if they had to do something that was, if they took them 2 months to generate the final report, but they needed to be reimbursed on something immediately.
They could ask.
Okay,
fast.
so what'd you say, written requests?
Special requests.
Yeah,
Okay.
could be yes, could be considered.
Yes, which just gives, I mean, so maybe it's an issue for most people, but if it is for that, you know, I wouldn't want
Yeah.
to leave anybody hanging, but we also want the report, but I'd rather wait an extra week and get a completely accurate report than one that's kind of just hammered together, that's not really accurate, but we're trying to get reimbursed.
Well, they make the request, presumably they're gonna have to tell us why, but that can be one of the conditions of why we say yes, is we will get the final report, correct?
Right, I mean,
Mhm.
Well, do you want that to be an administrative call, or, I mean, generally, we don't bring bills
Right.
through the committee.
Yeah, no, I.
Yeah, we'll
Kind of nitty gritty.
Yeah. and-
let you
Yeah,
use
that's,
your
Yeah.
judgment on that.
scratch that suggestion, because I think that that's,
I think that if there is a special request, they'll make it.
right.
Yeah,
And
Right.
I don't know that we wanna,
Tell
Open
them
that
to,
bu-
tell them,
open that door.
give them the option.
And
Okay.
you'll let us know.
That's,
so I'm gonna leave it the way it is.
yeah,
sounds
Mhm.
good.
I think that's,
And I think things will.
all right, I just also
we're not gonna
remember,
try to,
remember case two had written a big check that was covered under the grant, and it didn't get cashed for like 3 or 4 months.
That's another
Surprisingly,
caveat.
That's the biggest
And-
problem that happens. The port chamber runs into that with their invoices.
Right.
And they didn't cash a check,
Vendors don't cash it.
and you needed that canceled check to get the reimbursement back.
Yeah,
Hmm,
or someone could even bring it up in
Who's
the
waiting to cash
processing
checks in this-
application.
not me.
When they present to us, they could even tell us that they anticipate having needing 2 months to get their report back to us,
yeah,
but we need to pay
We
this
can-
bill. I mean, that's
yeah.
ways we
You
can
know what I
address
mean?
it.
I think that
in the room.
it's kind of a nice idea, because we can give them a spot for, like on the form, just any special considerations, please let us know
mhm.
in advance now.
Yeah, that works.
Um,
Yeah.
Remind me of that when we get to
Okay.
there. All right, good on pages 2 and 3 then?
Mhm.
So then page 4.
You did highly advantageous.
And so we just. The overall proposal, this is honestly the same criteria that was in there before. We went back and forth with the rubric that Courtney worked really hard on. And it just seemed, I think that keeping it simple was
Yeah.
maybe the easiest and most flexible. It's not a terrible set of criteria.
And we can keep those points in mind, those bullet points
Right.
in mind when we go through it, so. Like to us, maybe that, like, we just know, like, demonstrate organizational capacity to carry out means
It's even something
sustainability
that
or
we
whatever.
could have out and looking at when we're going through them this year.
Yeah.
And if it works, we could put it in for the year after so that they're more clear on the way we're judging it.
Yeah,
If we know that the points work out the same way we're
I
expecting them
thi- I
to.
think that the hard part is. You do like. you've got a historically like wide array of special events. And they're all very different. And if you have a clear direction that you want to go in, then I think the criteria can change.
Yes.
Yeah.
But until you have that,
Yeah,
you're kind of stuck. So, and then just a place for questions, they'll come to me or Domery, and we'll have a due date. And then I'll list out the attachments, that's where there's, it looks like there's 6 attachments, there may only be 4. But. And we get to the budget, I printed the wrong one out. Right one. So on the screen, you can see there's 2 columns. One is the 2025 estimate, and the other is the 2025 actual. And we really simplified the budget. Before we had, grandeurs, visions of grandeur, where people were gonna give us very detailed budgets and provide extra detail on any number of things, but I think this is nice. We just have a bunch of different income categories and a bunch of different expense categories. The idea here is that when they submit their application, they'll provide you with a 2025 estimate. And then when they do the final report, they're gonna fill in that 2025 actual as well. And then I think Courtney, it was your idea. We didn't talk about this when we
I like
talked
that.
briefly. On the income, don't, a lot of times people counted on the grant fund within the income. And so we're saying, don't count on the grant fund.
Yeah.
And basically your income and your program expenses will compare them. And the grant request might be the difference.
Mhm.
So that's the modified budget.
Is that gonna get left open to add categories, or are we just gonna lock in those categories?
I can,
Lock it.
I could lock it.
Lock it. Every time, they just do
Yeah.
weird things
They
to
do
it.
do weird things.
Let's just have, we can compare each.
yeah, I mean, there's the
person's
other, please
things.
describe.
Yeah,
So if we put another box below that where they can like actually describe it more and then,
Like maybe a couple lines on.
Yeah.
there.
yeah.
Because I don't know if like porta potties is on there, so
Yeah.
some
You know what
big
I'll do?
outdoor events need porta potties, that's a huge.
like a notes column.
Yeah.
Trash is a huge,
No, but that's that's not under income.
no, down under expenses.
Set up and clean up.
There.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I'll put the notes column in. I can also just include reference to like in the narrative, if they've got any notes, add it there.
Yeah.
Okay,
I put a note at the very top of this page saying that they're gonna fill in the actual at the end, because otherwise you're gonna get a question from every single person.
yep, I
Yeah.
think
Why are
that's
there
a
2
great comment.
columns?
Yeah,
It would be awesome to see what they put in.
you know, right?
Well, that
They
was
would
our-
Before it happens.
We used to have 3 columns worth. We wanted,
Oh, yeah.
anyways.
Yeah,
So
that
the-
looks good to me.
The
Yep,
next,
Fine.
any questions on budget?
Did you print the new application?
I did. Was it, did I know it?
That's really the showstopper.
It is. Did I not?
It's missing out of this one.
All right.
And do we want to say something that all boxes should be filled in, even if it's NA?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just so that way it's, I mean, I don't know. All,
No,
Fields required.
yeah.
all fields are required, even if it's NA.
Yes.
Yep,
Just it's not like, oh, no, I forgot to put that in. Well, no, you put NA in that, so you didn't forget to put it in. there.
Yes.
hold on. So let's finish this and then
Yeah.
Courtney pointed out that I did. I also point something out. Oh, it's in Word.
So the next in the, you want me to just go while you look for that?
Yeah,
So the next in the packet is the marketing and advertising plan. We're gonna put this in the same format as the budget we just saw, so that way it's not so clunky. So,
Rows and columns.
yeah, rows and columns in a
Yep.
table.
Are we allowing them to have their own spreadsheet or?
No, well, what do you,
It's-
it's what it
says
says on
Do you
here.
wanna strike it?
No,
Yeah, I
yeah, just
think
strike
we
that.
get-
That way we have our own thing. Yeah, good catch.
Yeah.
And then there's questions that go with it too.
They get to make
There's
no
a new
decision.
sheriff in town.
When will your event, yeah, so then there's these 5 questions, which I think are pretty standard for
Yeah.
the marketing plan. And then Karen's getting the new application, which looks like that, this is what we're talking about for a fillable form. She's gonna love it. Change this into a beautiful PDF that nobody can touch. Or they can touch it, but they can't change it.
Need to lock the font too, so. it's,
Yeah,
oh, All
yeah.
of a sudden I want 6 paragraphs and all of a sudden they make it like a 2 font. It's like,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, please.
I've
Is
manipulated
this,
some
is
forms in
this
the
what we
past.
don't have in town?
Yeah, yeah, now you do.
I do. Can you
Oh, yeah,
just,
the file name.
give one to each side?
Showstopper.
What did you say?
It's in the file name on the printout, it says
The
showstopper.
showstopper.
And do it.
And it always- So are we good for this?
Yeah, we're good for this.
form?
Yeah, the marketing plan was fine. I told them we're gonna
Awesome.
update it. We're good.
Awesome. So this, we put this,
Actually, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So indicate which, indicate which, indicate which, indicate distributions, distributions. What are we looking for? The answer to that
We're on,
on the marketing, the advertising form, you're gonna do those. You got 2 rows, you got 2 columns of money, the budgeted and then the actual. Print ads, it says indicate which, what does that mean?
What kind of print ads you using?
I know, are you gonna have to list all the newspapers and are you gonna need text boxes for that and?
we can add an extra notes column for that too.
Do we care?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
Because it's when you differentiate, some are more
We can
expensive
add-
than
Yeah, we
others.
can add.
We can add a notes. Yeah,
Yeah, you can
we'll
keep
add
it-
another 3rd column for notes like we
Good
just
catch.
did on the,
I just want to know what to.
On the
Yeah.
attachment,
Nope,
Yeah.
that's good.
attach information.
yeah, or attach samples or
Yeah,
something like that.
Better yet, have them know what to give us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To give us.
So what the showstopper is the real application form. And we put this together, understanding the nitty gritty. We want complete applications. And so this will be really easy to check. Did you answer every question that we wanted? And we really combined the old stuff and the new stuff that we came across that was good. And we organized it into contact information. And then just where there's options, we'll have them circle. The event, we have date of the event, time of year, and peak and off-peak season. Hours of event, location of event, couple of blank. We'll get rid of. New or ongoing indicate if it's, and then a couple of follow-up questions. If it is ongoing,
Good,
how long?
yeah, good.
Blah, blah, blah. Anticipated number, if your event's ongoing, how many attended last, how many? Yeah, but we're gonna fix that. How many people were there last year? Who's the target audience? What makes it unique? Does it strengthen community character? Hey, Bob,
Bob.
speaking of community character. How would the requested funding be targeted for use? And then economic impact is, do you have an out of town attendance? How do you determine where they come from? And then are you able to determine your impact on overnight stays and restaurant visits? Then we have a category demonstrating fiscal stability. Do you charge? What's your ticket price? Do you have discounts? How do you dole those out? Do you utilize revenue from sponsors? Do your proceeds go to charitable groups? How is it managed financially and how are spending decisions made? Is there a rainy day fund? And then last category is operational stability. Just describing capacity.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We have ties back to the
Oh.
comparative criteria that.
So all that looks good.
Well, any type of box that's actually what you're asking for the plan for.
Yeah,
So you have your $100,000 bet, but
we do. It's at the very top.
Oh, yeah,
of-
top.
And if we can make it louder, Joe. we can
Yeah.
Make it louder at the very top of page 2.
Yeah.
Last question in the first table block.
okay. That always kind of
It's also-
eluded some of the applicants in the
Mhm.
past.
Yes.
What do you actually want the money for?
Oh, what it's for, yeah,
It's just.
yeah, that makes sense.
Put a header on it.
Yeah.
And then one thing that might be helpful is up with the contact is their website, if they have a website, so that way it might
Oh,
be something
that's
for us to look at,
great.
like, hey,
Nope, great.
see what they've done in the
Great
past. If we're
suggestion.
not familiar, if it's something new or what their organization is, if
That's a great suggestion. I think if anybody.
Add all the
has-
social ones, add social to it too.
Oh, okay, great. That's
just
great.
let us see what we're getting,
Yeah,
what we're
Yeah.
getting into, but see what the organization is, or
yeah.
if they've already started for that event, for the event, then even.
Okay. No, I think that's great. Those are good suggestions.
Nice work by you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice
It
job.
was a lot of work. You guys did a great
It's not
job.
bad.
Thank you. It was a lot of your input too, so
Absolutely.
we appreciate it. Now can we stick the ball on top?
We can put the bow on top. Let's pick dates, so we.
Okay,
can,
yeah, so we
um,
gotta just set the calendar quick.
We can get this in the newspaper for September
I'm
16.
gonna say 9.
I almost did.
I'm like, that would be
That's
amazing. if you
today.
did that, Karen.
Getting magic wand.
September 16th.
The question is, how long do you want people to have this to work on? That's the real question.
Say at least a month.
30
right?
days is usually typical,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, because then that gives us time too to hold an event sometime in that space.
Yeah.
that Info meeting
So
too.
that would be 1, 2, 3, 4.
26.
Let's go have them do on the 18th.
Out of curiosity, when is Seaside?
The 12th and 13th of October.
I
Yeah.
just didn't
Yeah,
want her to be doing it.
Again.
that's the problem, poor Jan.
I know.
They end up,
It's right in the middle of it, like, if we push it out one more week, do we think it might make, like, it makes very little difference to us, but might
No.
make
No,
her
you're
life a
right.
lot
25?
easier.
Joe,
Okay.
does that help?
Yeah, I
I
think,
think anything would help.
yeah, right
Perhaps
after,
That's,
it's chaos, it's even
that's
chaos
asking
right
a-
afterwards.
yeah,
So,
So then the 25th, or we could give Jan an extra weekend and say the 28th.
That's fine.
So let's do that.
okay, let's do the 28th. Applications are due. And then that gives us November to review.
Yeah,
Right, because then
before Thanksgiving.
your regular meeting would be November 12th. And so I'm gonna say, I really liked what you did last year when you reviewed everything in advance and came up with the questions that we used to kind of give people a heads up.
Mhm.
And we asked for it back in writing. So if we could do that on the 12th, that would be good. And that should give you enough time to look the things over.
Yep.
And that
then-
will also be the day you have Live Love Local in.
Okay, so then we have their interviews
Then you'd have them in December.
the first week. Can we do it like like right at the first week? Because
Yeah,
the 21st is,
Yeah.
oh, the 28th is Thanksgiving, right? So.
yeah.
the
Just do it
28th is Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Fourth Thursday.
about even the week before in November, look at it, because remember, we still gotta go to the select.
19th, review on the 19th.
I mean, I'd like to, if we can send some at the beginning of December to the selectmen for the final, like, try to figure it out in November if we can, I don't know what
For their
everyone's thinks,
December
just,
10th meeting.
So, hold on, so the 12th, we are looking at them, like, we've gotten them, we're talking about them on the 12th. We send questions back to them. That's what we're saying?
Yeah,
And
I
the
would,
19th is.
yeah, I'm gonna make a suggestion. So if your due date is October 28th, maybe you have, oh my God, it's the election
yeah.
day.
I mean, unless, can
But
we,
you guys could meet November 5th, come up with your questions. That would give you, it'll take us a little bit to get you the materials, but you'd at least have them the weekend before the 5th to look at. And then,
I just think my recommendation is try to get it all wrapped up in November, so that way we can put it forward in December, so that way if the selectmen need any extra time to do whatever they're gonna do,
I'm not for that.
then it's ready for.
So then we also, like, I think your point is that we need to give them ample time to answer the questions before we
Yep.
meet.
Yeah, so
Right.
if we're meeting on the fifth, then we give them their questions. I think it's fine to give them 1 week to get questions but why don't we just tell them ahead of time that there's a very real chance that we're gonna be asking for their presence on the 12th?
Yeah.
Right, like, there's no reason for us to wait till the 5th
Right.
to let them know.
So
And
you
then
can
we
book
can
it.
always say, oh, you filled in a great application. We have no questions for you. You don't have to come in, but we might as well let them know ahead of time.
Yep.
So,
okay,
Really
Okay.
like what the new vice chair is saying.
yeah, I think that makes sense to me. I mean, can the schedule just, well, when we have the info
think
session,
it's
we'll just put
awesome.
all this out there.
Yes. So.
Yeah, when we have the info session, we'll just
Yeah.
say, just, here's the schedule.
Exactly.
Just be cautious
Okay.
that you might be called in on the 12th.
Right, I mean, if we have to throw in an extra meeting or so, I mean.
Yeah, we can do
Yeah.
that.
so
You know,
do you wanna say, so you did the interviews over, I think it was just 2 days?
We did too.
Yeah,
So do you
12 and
wanna
13.
program that now and say the 12th and the
12
13th?
and the 13th.
yeah.
Great.
Right, and that can depend on how many applicants we get. If we get a
Right.
lot, we'll do 2 days. If we don't get a
Just gonna
lot.
ask, is
we can
anyone
do
hearing about any new applicants?
No.
Well, maybe,
Well, maybe
Perhaps.
I think that Bob Kelly may have.
Bob Kelly might have,
some
who's that guy,
event
Bob
stuff.
Kelly? He might have some
Uh,
application.
And then who else was I
That
gonna put on the
application is going
list?
right in the round file.
The Cape Cod Symphony, I think, asked to be on the list.
Really?
so-
Okay, cool.
Fantastic.
And then, so we want to wrap up for the select board's December 10th meeting. Is that the goal?
Mm-hmm, yep.
Oh, yeah, because after we meet with them, we have to then do the
Deliberate.
voting. So when do the selectmen meet in December?
10th.
They meet on the 10th?
So we
wanna meet
finish
on
up
the 3rd?
interviews 12 and 13. We have the week of the 18th and week of the 25th until the 27th.
It looks like the selectmen are meeting on. Wow,
December
look
10th,
at, they have us on there already
for when?
for
December-
tentative, for December
Hey.
17th.
Oh, perfect. That gives us an extra time then. So then we can meet the 3rd or the 3rd or the 10th, right?
Jeez,
That's awesome.
you really
How about
paying
that?
attention to this committee.
That's concerning.
So then we can meet under the, like, the 3rd or the 10th. Our regular meeting would be the 10th
Yes.
anyway, right?
So let me, yeah, I wanna make sure I've got your dates right, so. We're gonna have them due on 10/28.
Yep.
CEDC is gonna have a regular meeting on November 5. To develop questions.
And that's also live, love, local. We need to remember.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's, that's the problem. I gave
Oh,
Live Love
theirs is the
Local
12th.
12.
Well,
Uh,
maybe if we,
well,
if
Whatever.
we can start a little earlier, maybe.
Yeah,
If we need to start earlier that day, we can start.
We, all know that when we're doing these,
Or ask them for
just
the
in the
5th.
longest meetings of the year.
yeah,
Ask Love Live Local for the 5th.
I think that would. Yeah, it'll be a
Any-
long meeting. So then you're gonna have interviews on 11, 12, and 13th.
Yep.
And then the committee will deliberate,
You meant 11 being November, right?
yeah, 11, 12, 13. It's like rummy.
And then do we want to meet like the next week, which. To just put it to bed, so that way it's.
You
not like
could.
that way it's not like 3 weeks later we're deciding. That way it's just all fresh in our heads.
I'm not against that.
Yeah, we can do
I
that.
think
The
that's a good
19th,
idea,
and just,
because then,
Maybe I could make an even better suggestion that we put it to bed on the 13th.
Mm,
We do.
We're not gonna,
I think you.
I think we
can have
tried
good
to do that last
intentions
time.
and it didn't work.
Yeah,
So.
but there was extenuating circumstances last time that had made us confused. So maybe
We can
could
try
do
for
it.
the 13th, and if not, we'll plan for the
There you
19th.
go, there you
You
go.
don't have to put that in writing.
There you
So
go.
we'll throw out the later date as the target and then you do. You know, ahead of the
Do it
game
on
if
the-
you get it done on the 13th.
Yeah.
But so we do that on 12/19, is that what you're saying, Joe?
11/19.
11/19, thank you. And then,
Meet with the SB on 12/17.
select board on. 17, but you'll get that memo out right away.
Yeah, all right,
Okay. That's great.
You'll send these out, the
yeah,
dates. Yeah, cool. Perfect.
Yeah.
all righty, cool, all right,
Cool.
are we done with that?
Can you accept all these changes or no? Fantastic.
Good work.
Right, okay, hi, Bob,
Hello.
thanks for joining us,
Thanks.
all right.
Can
Who's,
I give Bob a little preamble?
yes, please do.
So, and I'll let Bob introduce himself, but,
Mark,
one of his jobs is on the Yarmouth Historical Commission. And at, recent meetings, Bob's brought up a number of things that are going on for the, we can't call it the bicentennial, what do we call it?
250th.
250?
Yeah.
Which is coming up fast and furious in 2026. And I think that folks are doing a lot of planning for different events and different activities to make commemoration for the 250th. We've been talking about with the Historical Commission again, kind of the promotion of historical tourism.
Mhm.
You guys have been talking about it, so I thought it would be a good idea for Bob to come in, talk about the 250th. The ideas with the squares and the memorial, and then some of the events that you have in mind. I don't know if that does it for you, Bob.
Yeah.
Do you need copies, Bob? You got enough?
Thank
It
you.
was also mentioned that you might be
Thank you.
submitting some grant applications.
Possibly,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So as the president of the Historical Society, the Old Yarmouth and the Yarmouth Historic Commissioner, I got shamed into this. It's like there was a committee that was a 2020 committee that never really launched in 2020 because of COVID, that continued to meet and had been working on revolutionary stuff. And there's two people in particular who've done for years a lot of research on Revolutionary War soldiers and stories of Yarmouth. One of them is a member of the Sons of the American Revolution who's been doing this stuff for 40 years.
Well,
And then Jack Duggan is the other one. And they have two separate databases, but they figure together there's about 475 men from Yarmouth who participated in the American Revolution.
Oh, wow.
So we have this database, and a couple of things came to light. So the ancient cemetery has 51 people who participated in the American Revolution. One is suspect. There's a 52nd. Hasn't been totally validated. And, you know, these guys are, both of these researchers are very, you know, primary source. If it isn't there, it didn't happen, right? So they're pretty sure about this. And so that little handout that I gave you is an evolution of things. I've only been on this a couple of months. And so I've had to scramble. I met with Bill Bullock of the cemetery. And he likes the 7x7x7 stone versus the flag, which sticks up and is prone to breaking and not mowing, not being able to mow over it. These things you can set them an inch to inch and a half above the ground, you can mow over them. So he's in favor of that. In 60 or 70 years, the ground will come up, but you know, they can be moved up. They're only 7 inches deep. They would be set in cement, so they can't be just ripped up out of the ground. They're pretty heavy too. I think they weigh 38 pounds or something. What do
Can we do the
figure?
math? We
They're
did the
like
math. It's
38
less than
pounds a
40
piece, and then if they're in cement, they're gonna be like, it's like 50
Mhm.
pounds. So no one's gonna be running out of the cemetery with them.
Mhm.
The mark is a SAR trademark. It would be, the embossing would be done by the stone supplier. And the cost we have on those right now is $135 a piece embossed. And I figure another $20 to plant them. To have somebody plant them, take an hour maybe, somebody's time. Or if we could get volunteers to do it. The 51. And then we would do this as a larger celebration. We would bring in the Yarmouth Minutemen, maybe some people from the state on the SAR side. And have a ceremony. And then I've worked out with Laurel Gable of Friends of Ancient Cemetery. We can get about a dozen people dressed up in costume and stand behind their character of choice and open it up to a free walk, talk. And because people will be standing next to the grave, you'll see them, you'll know who they are, and then they will give your a spiel when people, come up to them, and both men and women. So we could do some wives of some of these soldiers, especially maybe some that aren't really buried there, but their wives are.
Oh, neat.
That's cool.
They were like killed
Neat.
in action. So that part, and we figured that would be like a 10 a.m. to like 12:30 to 1 type of a thing. We originally thought about having some food and stuff there, and then we kind of said, maybe not. And an aside thing that we did with the scouts years ago was we cut out these little pieces of wood and had little branding irons that we actually put a hole in the wood with a string through it, and we could do like a Betsy Ross flag into this thing, and you can carry it around your neck or tie it to your belt or something like that. If we wanted to attract kids
Mhm.
or something like that. So that's one thing that we have come up with.
And that would be held when, Bob?
That's, first of all, that's an ancient cemetery, and that would be I think the Saturday after the 4th,
Of 26.
26.
Is that the, is that
2026.
the official
Yes.
date
The 11th.
for the country?
Kind of hurts to write.
No, we figured that anytime in 2026 is okay. I mean, the war went from 1775 to roughly 1789.
July 4th, 26 is a Saturday.
Yes, it is.
So the 11th is that 7 days from now?
Yeah,
So
we'll figure that out.
the date's not carved in stone, but we thought that trying to do it on and
The
around.
date's not carved in stone.
This will be
Yes,
though.
he did.
That's awesome.
There you go.
What else isn't carved in stone, Bob?
My whole life. Okay, so that was one thing that we thought we could do. Now, I'm trying to mirror Dennis. Okay, and the reason I'm doing that is because this committee took all their ideas and manifested itself in the town of Dennis. Okay, and they have dates, all kinds of events. There's a museum in Dennis that they're donating a room to them, and they're gonna have a display. I'm donating a Quaker clock from 1780 or some such thing. And they've got all these events planned, and Yarmouth had absolutely nothing
Hmm.
planned. So what it ended up coming to me was, so Bob, what are you planning to do? And I said, well, I have no idea. So, the other thing we thought of, so one of the things that Dennis is doing is they are doing 3 historical stones with plaques on them. One of the plaques is going to have known East Precinct of Yarmouth last names of men who served in the Revolution. So before 1793, Yarmouth was East Precinct, West Precinct. Dennis was the East Precinct, Yarmouth was the West Precinct, current day, and but before that, it was all Yarmouth. So really, the Revolutionary War took place in Yarmouth. The Yarmouth men that served, there was no Dennis then. These great researchers that have done this work with these 400 some servicemen. We know first name, last name, death date, death year, anyhow. So my thought was we could do a large monument. They're only doing a smaller monument. Last names. I'd like to have last name, first name, death year. It comes out to about 8,500 characters. Okay. And I have been, since Karen said I was gonna have to come to this meeting to talk about this. I've made contact with Barnacote. I've made contact with a guy by the name of John P. Forgier of Harwich. Richard DeSorger, who did the Mashpee War Monument. He used Baker Monument Company in Falmouth, and they used the Vermont Granite Company. Mackey Monuments, which is the ones that have quoted this one here. We're going to get other quotes on that as well. Dave Campbell from Etched in Stone Cape Cod, Brian from Cape Cod Memorials in Brewster, and Henry T. Crosby, Tom Blute from Henry T. Crosby. I've heard from Richard DeSorger, Barnacote, and today I heard from Cape Cod Memorials. The 2 options for stones are granite or marble. Marble's 3 times the cost. So marble's out, right? I will pass this around. I didn't know, it's not buttoned down, but to give you an idea what it looks like to have 475 names.
Wow.
Those are 2,
So how did you do that?
I didn't, Barnacote.
Barnacote did that? That's fantastic.
Right. Also, I wanted to pass this around. This is a monument that Tom Blute did for Truro. And it's all wars.
Mm.
Okay, now Yarmouth doesn't have anything like this. So, but Yarmouth has a monument here, a monument there. A park called Veterans Memorial that has nothing veterans in it.
Yeah.
We have all this, but we don't really have any one war covered.
Recognized.
So we're kind of all over the place. And so two thoughts came to me. For you have to have research in order to make a monument like this. I haven't really sought out whether there are as many people doing the Civil War as diligently as was done with the Revolutionary War or the Korean War, or World War I or World War II. But, I like this. This makes a lot of sense, but I don't know that we have the research for it. We do have the research for the Revolution, and it's really quite good. as far as research goes. And so these are basically two sizes that Barnacote is. Now, he did this overnight. Okay, so, and he gave me a quote of somewhere between 50 and 100,000 for a monument of this ilk. And it depends on whether we want an image on it, like a Minuteman image or some scroll work, or, maybe not just square, but maybe, all that stuff would be,
Those measurements are in feet.
yes,
Okay.
they are. So there's work to be done. I explained to all these people that the grant cycle doesn't coincide with the development cycle,
Mhm.
right? So the big part of the development for me was the research. Without the research, you don't have anything, right? So, or you could do a stone, one stone with a plaque on it that says Revolutionary War, being very generic, but since we have the research, this is kind of what we're coming up with.
There's nothing stopping anyone from adding on, being able to add on.
Yeah,
When
we
research is
would,
completed for the other wars.
yeah, we would,
As long as you have the necessary land, right?
well, there's two things. There's add-ons to the Revolution, right?
Right.
So because there were privateers that where if their ship went down, they all went down,
Mhm.
right? Unknown. Okay, they could be discovered.
Yeah.
Right? And muster records are being found all the time. I think 475 people, men from one town is a hell of a lot of men.
Yeah.
I don't know how many men were actually in the town at that time, but it probably wasn't double that. And so we would leave a little, first of all, on the Revolutionary stone, we would leave a little area, and we would make the letters a font type that could be duplicated in the future. So not something special that somebody's doing, but also, yes, we could have, you could make it so that you build a monument for Revolutionary like this is, and you have a plan that you could do other wars as like they've done here. I don't know if this, honestly, whether this was done all at one time or whether this was done over time. But these are separate stones that were added.
Added on,
Gold
yeah,
medallions in the middle,
yeah.
just significant.
They're
to each war.
they're insignias, yeah, of each war, yeah. So, there's arguments on both sides, but you have to have the research. But even if you don't have the research and somebody in the future would do the research, if you laid it out in such a way that you could do foreign wars. Mashpee has a similar thing that they have recently done from the Revolutionary War through Desert Storm. And it's really quite nice. And they have a number of, in fact, I just had it up here. They did individual stones for their Revolutionary. They had like about 20 some.
Wow.
And they did bronze plaques on, and it's a kind of an angled thing that sits up
Mhm.
about this high up off the ground with a flag. And it's in a circle. And they have a main monument. And then they have this circle, and so,
400.
and that's aside from the major monument, where they're also mentioned in the Revolution on the major monument and so forth, in the Civil War, and then World War I, Korea, World War II, and so forth.
So Bob, we're gonna work on together a CPA application for this, right?
Yeah, I'm
Because-
hoping, yeah.
The CPA application. So they're there, and we have to do this before September 20th. And,
Jesus.
right, because the CPA money is for the money that will get voted at the upcoming annual town meeting.
Okay, so let me
for
just,
Fiscal 26.
yes, so, what Barnacote said was there's a 20 to 26 week lead on the stone. That size of.
Actually, this is the right time.
Yeah, it's cutting
Or
it
it
too
won't be
close
long.
if you don't do it until October 25.
Yeah,
And then CPA, you don't get it till July.
No,
You can't spend the money till the July of the ensuing year, so. And you have to have, the town also has to vote it.
mhm,
So, timing is not our friend here
right.
on
What-
this.
What I was thinking is, as we move forward with the CPA application, knowing CPA likes to do match.
Right, you're reading my mind.
Can we come back and,
Yep.
make a request for some match money
yeah,
here to help fund this?
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for the group, but I think you can go even stronger than that. We're ready, willing and able when you're to
Okay.
the CPA. You get your act together, we're,
Yeah, the other thing
Okay,
is I
great.
did look at, on the suggestion of Bill Bullock, I looked at the Chandler Gray cemetery, which I had never been there. They have an area, they have a drive area, so they've got, after you go around the circle to 9 o'clock. They've got 4 areas, 2 of them already have war monuments. It's all war monuments from different wars. In this section and in this section. Then there's a blank section with a road, a blank section with a road, and then there's a section just beyond it that has like woods behind it, but it's a mowed area. And I thought that would be a fabulous area to put a monument such as this. Knowing that, you know, where Higgins Scroll,
Like across from the police station.
across from the police station,
Oh,
then you turn left and like you're going nowhere and then you run into this cemetery.
So Bob made another point when we met last week, about how it's another kind of selling point for Chandler Gray, and we have to, you know, all of this would have to go through the select board. And we have to work with
Sure.
DPW and all of that, but that there's very little in the way of like monuments and things like that.
Historical
West
things in
Yarmouth.
West Yarmouth.
Could we
No, I-
offer a letter of support for the application for the 20th
Great idea.
I think that's a,
in advance of some sort of match commitment vote? You could do a letter for the application.
Mhm.
yeah.
The CBC likes that too.
So we,
Mention that you're expect this, because I'll write the memo, that you're expecting Bob and the Historical Society, Historical Commission,
the
whoever.
commission, the society can't do it because we don't own the property.
So we're gonna call it the commission, and with that, we'll be back to discuss match.
so this is all this is going in the ancient cemetery? Yeah.
No,
No,
This is for Chandler Gray.
those are separate.
Okay,
That's ancient cemetery. This could be anywhere in Yarmouth. But I'm saying that there's also at Chandler Gray, there's behind the building, there's an elevated section of ground that has a deteriorating wall that this could be placed on top of, and the wall could be all rebuilt
Neat.
I mean, it's an option. CPA requires 3 quotes. These are all preliminary. Barnacote did an amazing job getting this information to me. I have 2 or 3 others working on it, but you know,
That's
nobody's,
great. How are you planning to seek funding for the stones that will go to Ancient Cemetery? I did them at 155 times 51 is
68.
7905.
how much?
7905.
yeah, I I thought maybe, I wasn't sure, but I thought that the historical commission could somehow procure funds.
Did a mass 250 grant get applied for?
Mm-mm. Do you know the deadline for that? Has it come and gone?
Yeah, August 22nd.
Will be another round next year.
You don't know.
These
Yeah.
can be had, I think, pretty quickly.
Yeah. Right.
The major stone.
Yeah.
Can't.
Right.
So we could keep looking for funds for those, and if
Mhm.
Yeah, I think
it's
you're
lovely.
on the point where if we can leverage other money with our money or vice versa, that's the way we like to look at it.
Okay,
So.
Yeah.
If I could,
Yeah,
it's a little awkward.
Can take a bit to let
It's
go, I know.
transition. It's
I'm working on it.
transition.
I'm working on it. If there's a way, let me back up. There was a indication from the chairman of the Board of Selectmen that there is ways, opportunities of bringing in more visitors to Yarmouth, but for us doing more work, letting people know there's these different locations, like two parts. One is, are you working on any of that? And two, is there a way of tying any of this in with other locations
all right, so,
that the visitors might be interested in?
so I've always been a proponent of historical signage. Typical of what I can offer is the Indian Memorial sign. I don't know if any of you have seen it. It was developed pre-COVID. George Slama and I actually put it together, and it's a great model. It's a double post preacher board, 36 by 24 model. And if something were to happen to the sign itself, it can be, I think you can duplicate it for $150 or something. You can have a whole new one done. And it's UV. It's been out there now for 5 years and it still looks great, great. So I had proposed a couple of years ago, George Slama and I had proposed doing 2 or 3 of these signs a year and putting them where really there is no signage today. To give you an example, and I know you probably, this may sound familiar to you. I had proposed to put 3 signs at the Judah Baker Mill. And the reason I proposed 3 signs was there's no sign for Judah Baker.
Sure.
If you look out into the ocean, there was Proles Pier. That was at Bass River Harbor. Bass River Harbor was on the Dennis side mouth, was 12 feet deep at low tide, and Sylvanus Kroll built a pier on the southern end in the ocean of that of Bass River Harbor. And he had a store on top of it, and it was used as a cross-dock operation. Nobody knows anything about that. And it can only be seen really from that vantage point or Smuggler's Beach. And the third one is there was vast salt works in that area, and there's no other place along the river that's public to display it. And we have great history. I'm doing actually a book on Yarmouth Salt Works. We have great photos. At the Veterans Packet Landing, that was the northeast corner of the Indian Reservation that was here from 1713 to 1779. Nobody knows that. There's nothing there that
I knew
says that it was.
Because you told me.
Oh, okay. There is, I did research on, in Yarmouth Port, they have the Captain's Mile. And it's an actual map with captain's houses on it. Right now, that map sits inside the cobbler shop at the Historical Society, but it would look great on the green. Right? And I did research in Friends Village, which is South Yarmouth, Quaker Village. In the Quaker Village area and along Old Main to Pine Street, 86 captains and 66 houses. And we could do a map of that and put that at Packet Landing, okay? And then people could do a walking tour of just that. Those are just some ideas of historic signs, signage where nobody has any idea what's any of this stuff ever happened. And there are other, the Baxter Mill needs proper signage. And you know, there is another little place off Winslow Gray that there are trails there. It's the Plashes,
Precious Pond or?
you know, where those are the headwaters. Okay, but on the 1795, 1830 map, there's a little mill that was there. It was like the Baxter Mill. It was a water-driven grist mill. And that signage that we just did for Parker's River has it on there. And that, nobody knows anything about that mill. All they know is that
It's on the drive-in site.
a guy by the name of Keith Tilla came in the turn of the century from Norway or someplace and turned it all into cranberries, which is what the Norwegians did when they came here. And and nobody knows anything about the history of that mill. So even at that park, there's nothing about a little mill. The stream runs, there's a spillway there where the mill was. There's like a circular drive that you can't go through because the spillway is there. But I mean, those kinds of things around Yarmouth. You know, there was an Indian meeting house, an English style Indian meeting house behind Swan Pond Village. And there is an acre of conservation between the little run that goes into Swan Pond. That first 100 feet was a natural spring going into Swan Pond, and the Indian meeting house was west of it along the pond. And nobody knows that. And, you know, there's just a lot of things that some you might want to put signage and some you might want to keep quiet.
Right.
But, you know, there's all kinds of places, we could do a program of 2 or 3 signs a year in that same model of the Indian Memorial. I would urge you to sometimes go up and see the Indian Memorial sign that's there.
For all that information.
Thank you.
Courtney, do you need a motion on a letter?
Yeah, I definitely think we need a motion on the letter for support for the CPA app.
So,
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Awesome. Okay, so we'll get that for you, Bob. It sounds like you're gonna work with Karen on the actual application. And then, yeah, we're here to fully support everything that you guys want to do. I think you're right, like there's not a lot of indication in this town of its history and the people who made it what it is and really served our country and our community. So I think this is a great project.
Just the fact that we probably lost half of the men in town.
It's crazy to think about. Yeah, this is great. I love it all. So,
And I, you know, the monument can be really it doesn't have to be plain vanilla, you know. It could have, because I think there was something about an artistic grant for, I remember hearing that there could be a artistic history grant, that if we made the monument in a certain way, it could qualifiers.
Probably through MCC, Karen.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
cultural council definitely has grants for this. Great.
And I really don't have a lot of faith in the quote that we got. So I saw a quote for Harwich for half the men for 179,000. And I
And
don't know
not
if,
marble.
not marble
Granted.
that I'm aware of. And so, but
Oh, granite.
I think that if, Barnacote's been around the block and he did say it was a wholesale price. So,
Wow.
Okay, awesome.
he's a one-man show. He's Yarmouth. He's
Very
local.
helpful.
Yeah. That's great. Well,
That's awesome.
thank you for all the work that you do and your
Yeah.
committee and your commission and for coming forward with this.
We try.
Yeah, it's important work. It's great.
Thanks.
Nice job.
Get my book, Daniel Wing's Historical Writings. You'll learn.
Yes, I'm excited.
It's on Amazon.
Okay.
You can buy it at the Historical Society. Yeah, they've got them up there. Yeah. You'll learn all about the mill and the Indian Reservation, the Quakers, Kroll's Pier, everything.
Fantastic. Great.
So we
Thank
have
you
to
so
get
much.
together,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Maybe Thursday after the historical commission.
Okay.
There's not a wholesale.
check the
price
calendar
for-
and email
for
it.
the Committee on the book. You want us to pay the Amazon markup, which I want an autographed copy.
I'll sign it for you. The
Mhm.
proceeds go to the all proceeds go to the Historical
Oh,
Society.
okay.
Great.
So I'll definitely be paying full price for that.
And when the Saltworks book comes out, it's the same deal.
Yeah, that's cool. I had no idea about the Saltworks. That's really interesting.
You'll
Yeah.
be absolutely amazed, especially the part where I put in there the last salt makers in Friends Village, who sold them to who for the first residents,
Oh, wow.
on certain streets.
Oh, cool. That's cool. Yeah, and I'm excited to partner on events too. I think it's a great opportunity for the town.
Good.
Great. Thanks so much.
All right.
All right, we'll see you
Good
soon.
Nice work.
You know, one thing you should consider is the school programs from the Historical Society and have gone south since COVID.
Hmm.
We used to do Saltworks presentations, Indigenous presentations in the third grade. All that's gone.
No,
Well, you brought up signage
Too
in,
bad.
in terms of Packet Landing.
Yeah.
So we're planning on
Yeah. it's
doing
nice
some
night.
stuff at Packet Landing to
Nice
make it
night.
more conducive to an
Yep.
outdoor classroom space. So
Yep.
there's a nice dovetail there.
You know, and the other thing is, wherever you put this monument, that should be Veterans Park,
Mhm.
yeah.
okay?
Mhm.
Because, and the reason that Chandler Gray was so appealing to me was there was already two dedicated locations, like big areas that was only for veterans,
Oh,
you know?
Point.
So
yeah.
anyhow.
Thanks, Bob. Have a great night.
You.
Thank you.
See you
Thank
soon,
you.
Bob.
Take
Bye,
care.
Bob.
Next up are these minutes from 2023 we got approved.
Please.
All right, they're in the
Yeah,
packet.
we have a backlog of meeting minutes. We're trying to get
We're
through
gonna
'em.
crack on the road.
I thought it was a quiz on what we did and said a year ago.
If anybody doesn't have any edits or comments, but I'll take a motion for March 28th, 2023.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
All right,
Aye. And April 11th, 2023? Motion to approve.
second.
All in favor?
All right,
Awesome. Committee member items. My only item is I went to the Cape Cod Commission's presentations of the select board about the CEDs. Wasn't really the comprehensive economic development strategy. It wasn't anything we didn't already know if we've read the CEDs. But Dennis, our commission rep, was there and I introduced myself, so maybe we can try and get him in October.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see where that all goes. And it was to the planning board, not the commission. It was interesting. The planning board had some interesting questions. But yeah, it was nothing that you can't be readily found online. They're just kind of doing a tour. I don't think I have anything else. Oh, I am attending later this month the ICMA, which is the International County Managers
In
Association
Pittsburgh?
in Pittsburgh. And there's a lot on economic development, so I'm gonna
Good.
rake it all in
Excellent.
while I'm
You're
out
gonna love
there.
Pittsburgh.
That's what I'm hearing. I'm excited.
I'll tell you.
Oh, good, good, good.
Understood.
Yeah, so that's in a couple weeks, so I'm gonna really get all that I can out of it. But is there any other committee member items or updates?
Good.
I have something.
Yeah,
So the two meetings ago, when we divided Route 28 into segments. So actually, this is probably good timing, Karen, because I was downstairs and I spoke with a woman from CDBG,
Mary.
Mary, sorry. I spoke to Mary
Mhm.
and I was down there for other reasons, but we've got talking about her program.
Mhm.
And I told her what we had decided to do.
Yep,
And I believe, and I said this to her, that you were planning on getting us names and contact information for people along those segments,
Mhm.
right? She did not want that to happen. She suggested that we just identify the properties and give her the property list of potential.
well, you were doing.
She wants to contact them.
Okay, yeah, so I think, because we're using it for twofold, right? We're using it for the vacant storefront and that,
Agreed.
so yeah, I think you're right. I think we'll just
Yeah.
give her the list of properties and then we'll use
And
the,
you used the rest for,
we'll use the rest. for
all
us.
I was gonna do was not necessarily names, I was gonna get you addresses.
I think Mary
And just
from the
make it
chamber
easier
had
to
offered,
Fill it
I
out.
thought,
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
confused too, because I thought you were gonna pull like from, what is the tax roll, the assessor's office, who owns the property, so that we could make more of a formal
No,
contact.
No.
I think it's easier to do the first.
Look.
First look of just addresses, you know, you can fill in the businesses or whatever, maybe keep it really informal and find your targets. For the facade
Okay.
program.
Yeah,
And then we can have,
But keep in mind that other program.
we can serve two purposes with that same list.
Yes, yep, yep.
um,
And I'm sorry, I owe you that. I started it and I did not.
No, that's fine, because she and I talked a while and, she was asking if she should come back and clarify, but I said, no, I'll take your message to them, and figure it out.
the other update quick, the chamber, I don't know that they'll be ready for October 8th because she just started, but the new, what is that, marketing and communications coordinator position
Yeah.
for the chamber? That position was filled by a Yarmouth resident, Amy Medeiros, who worked at Cape Symphony for 20+ years.
Good.
So I know her personally. I'm gonna try and connect with her and just see how her first couple weeks have gone at the chamber, and then but I did message her and was like, hey, we got this like CEDC marketing grant with you guys if you ever want to talk about it. So so I told her once she gets her feet kind of settled and on the ground there, and when it's time to talk about the marketing contract, we'll have her and Mary back in, so
Hmm.
that's all I have.
And then just dovetailing on that, I spoke with Mary about Mary Vilbon about the special events consultant report. And I know that I had talked to Steve about it, about trying to schedule them to come in. Mary noted that they're also trying to schedule with the select board. So
Maybe we just attend that meeting.
you could, yeah,
Yeah,
Did we ever get that full report? Because I think the only thing I had was the
I'll forward it out.
whatever it was supposed to be. Okay, cool.
Oh, you know what else is, the jingle was part of that.
Yeah, where is that
I'm gonna
jingle?
ask about the jingle too.
It better be an earworm.
It's a super busy time for them with the annual meeting coming up and having the vacancy. Well, but I'll find out. Let's see if I
Okay.
can send it to you.
All right.
I've heard it.
Is it an earworm?
Huh? Not right now, it's not.
All right, I'll be the judge of that. No.
Tambourine.
I know.
Is there a kazoo?
yeah.
All right, so our next meeting is October 8th,
Right?
5 o'clock. It better be good. That's all I gotta say. All right.
So was
we
there a
have
motion? and
Joe
a-
Gibbs made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right,
All right, 7 on the
Good
dot.
job.
Thanks
Cheers.
all.
see you guys later. I gotta jet to another meeting.
Go, Joe, go.
Don't, be careful.
7 to 10/16.
7:00. Thank you, that's a very nice. For the penny out there.
Is he going to
I
the,
like those ones, yeah.
is he going to the select board meeting? I don't think I don't have the energy.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I
Congratulations.
don't think I have the energy to watch the select board tonight, if I'm being honest.